Hello everyone, I hope you guys are all having a fabulous Tuesday. Today I have a quick review on the Celine mini luggage. I will be doing a quick overview of the items, some pros, some cons, my final thoughts, and whether or not I recommend this bag. So let's get started. Before I forget, the measurements on this beautiful bag are 12 inches in length at the base. It is 19 inches from side to side with the gussets fully extended. It is approximately 12 inches in height. It has a 7-inch depth as well as a 5-inch strap drop. And I thought I will also include how much this bag weighs, because anytime anyone talks about Celine, we always talk about how heavy it is. This bag weighs in at 3 pounds and 1.5 ounces. So it is quite heavy. So I thought I would just mention that right off the bat. This bag currently retails for $3,100 here in the States. It is available in an array of different leathers, and it also has different hardware. This one in particular is drummed leather. The color is in Celine, and it has the contrast stitching, so a little cream stitching that you can see there. And it does have the aged silver hardware with the corresponding silver foil lettering at the very top. And as you can see, it does have one zipper compartment here that you open it up. It does have a very smooth zipper, and you have it lined with suede. So there is the front side of it. There's a side view of it. The back side. On the back side, there are no other pockets except for the one on the front that I showed you guys. Now this guy up here, some people have said that this is to house your sunglasses for easier access. I'm not too sure, so don't quote me on it. And then there's another view of it. And then on the bottom, you have a total of 4 feet, which makes it very easy to set this bag down if you needed to. And then when you go onto the inside, let me just show you guys, because it does have a top zip closure, but the zipper doesn't go the entire length of the handbag. So that is what it looks like. And then once you open it up, you have, there we go. It is completely lined with suede. You have one zipper compartment on one side, and then you also have 2 slip pockets on the other side. One of them looks more like a little, like a little cell phone pocket, and then just the other one there. So there it is. There are the details of this bag. And it's so funny because as I've been talking about this, the few minutes that I've started doing this video, right now it's showing up a little bit more brown, and sometimes it ends up showing up a little bit more gray. So the color Celine itself is very, very hard to capture. I'd almost call it like a khaki grayish brown, if that's even a word, if that's even a color. But there we go. So now that we've discussed the details, let's talk about the pros. Hands down, the first pro for me on this handbag is the quality of their leather. I have always raved about the type of leather that Celine uses, especially their drummed leather. Check out the pebbling that it has. I think it really adds to the beauty of this handbag. And another thing about the drummed leather, that it adds to the durability of this bag as well, because it's not as prone to scratching, it's not as prone to seeing all those wear marks, whereas some of the other leathers that this bag is made in, kind of like the smooth calfskin, you'll be able to see those a lot quicker. So the fact that it does have the pebbling, again, adds to the durability of the handbag. So just the leather in general is just very, very beautiful. It's very soft. It kind of reminds me of a cross between how soft the lambskin is on Chanel and their caviar, kind of in between. So it's very, very soft. And again, you have those beautiful pebbles to add to the beauty of it. Another pro that I'd have to say is the fact that you can see everything at a glance. Now this bag, let's be honest, it's not a small handbag. It's not a mini handbag. It is, even though the name says mini luggage, it is quite a large handbag, but the fact that you can unzip the top and see everything at a glance just kind of adds to it, especially when it comes to larger handbags. Sometimes the larger the handbags are, if they have a lot of pockets, sometimes it's, you know, your items don't get lost, but it's, you know, they're kind of all over the place. So the fact that you can just open up your bag and see everything at a glance just makes it that much better, in my opinion. So I do love that aspect about it. I end up using the zippered compartment. Sometimes I've put my phone in there, but for the most part, I end up putting receipts or just a few other odds and ends inside. So that is another great aspect about this bag. Another thing that I really like about it is the fact that it does have the 4 feet on the bottom, especially because it's a tote. Even though I do have totes in my collection that don't have feet, I always appreciate it when it does have the hardware on the bottom, because it makes it that much easier to be able to set down and you don't have to worry that you're going to be ruining the leather here. So that is another great detail that I like about this handbag. Another detail about this bag that I really like are the handles. details. I find them to be extremely comfortable, especially for the weight that this bag has and the type of silhouette that it has. Because there are other fashion houses that have larger totes, and sometimes the straps are a little too thin, and when you end up carrying them on the crook of your arm, they end up just kind of digging into your skin. And I don't find that this is an issue with this handbag, because check it out. Look at how thick the straps are. So I feel that it really ends up balancing out the weight very nicely. And again, you don't have to worry that it's going to be digging into your shoulder or digging into your skin if you're wearing this bag for a few hours. I did also have someone ask if I can use this as a shoulder bag. Unfortunately, I cannot. The strap drop is too short, so when I put it on, it goes up to, it only goes up to here. I think that if you are very petite, you might be able to get away with it, but unfortunately for me, it is only a hand carry bag or one that I can use on the crook of my arm. So I thought I would mention that as well. Another pro that I have to say, and this is more specific towards me, is that I feel that it ends up adding variety to my collection. Because for the most part, I end up gravitating towards two specific fashion houses, but I've always been intrigued by Celine. A lot of people have always talked about how durable their leather is, and just in general, the quality of their handbags. And I'm very happy that I was able to add this bag to my collection. I already had a Phantom, so I had an idea as to how they wear, and I've just been very, very excited. So again, it adds a little bit of a variety to my collection. I did end up going for more of a neutral because I did have a bad experience with colored handbags, but that's neither here nor there. But again, I just really like that it's something different, and different for me anyways, because I know it's still a very highly popular bag. So I just thought I would throw that in there as a little bonus, so that way if you're kind of like me and you end up having more of one fashion house or more of another, then it's sometimes nice to just step out of those two fashion houses or whichever fashion house you prefer and go for a different one. And I was just very, very pleasantly surprised with this specific model. Now let's talk about the cons. Even though this bag has quite a few pros, it has quite a few cons as well. The first one being that it is a heavy handbag. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it's really lightweight. Not at all. Like I mentioned before, it weighs in at 3 pounds, 1.5 ounces, completely empty. So once you start adding your wallet, your other small leather goods, or anything else that you carry with you, it makes for a heavy handbag. And even though it does have the comfortable straps, and they don't end up digging into your skin, you will start to feel the weight as the hours go by, especially if you end up using it as a hand carry bag. So it'll be a little bit, it might be a little bit uncomfortable. So I just thought I would mention that. Like I said before, I've always said that I'm going to give you guys the good, the bad, and the ugly on any of my reviews. And the weight is definitely something that a lot of people talk about when it comes to Celine. So it is a very heavy handbag because you do have quite a bit of leather. You have the leather on the outside, and then you have the suede on the interior. So it just makes for a heavy handbag. So again, I just thought I would mention it. Another con on this bag, even though it does have this beautiful leather and it does have these really nice details, is that it does not hold its resale value whatsoever. When it comes in at $3,100 here in the States, you can find it on the pre-loved market for $1,800, $2,000. Of course, it all depends on the type of wear that the pre-loved one has, but for the most part, I mean, you can find some amazing deals on the pre-loved market. So it doesn't hold its resale value. And for the most part, if you've been watching my channel for a while, I've always discussed the resale value, and sometimes I'm a little bit more mindful of the bags that I add to my collection, because that way if I buy a handbag, I'm in love with it for the moment. If I end up selling it, then I know that I can end up getting close to what I paid for, if not a good majority of what I paid for the item. So when it came to Celine, I knew that they didn't hold their resale value, and it didn't bother me because I thoroughly enjoy using this handbag. And sometimes that's all that it's about. Even though the resale value might be important, at the end of the day, it's all a matter of how that bag makes you feel. And if you end up using it quite a bit, if it makes you grin from ear to ear, that's all that matters. So like I said, I kind of contradicted myself to a certain extent, because like I said, I've always talked about the resale value, and it's always been something that I've kept in my mind, but I just couldn't help it because I love the design that it has. I absolutely love the leather, and anytime I end up using it, I get quite a bit of compliments. So for me, it's all a matter of how I feel when I use this bag. So at that point, it didn't matter as far as the resale value goes. So again, I thought I would mention that. That way, if it is absolutely 100% important to you, then that's something to keep in the back of your mind. Another con to this bag is that it is prone to slouching. So as you start to use it, you will start to notice that it has quite a bit of wrinkling on the sides. So again, I've had this for 7-8 months, I think, and you will start to see there's a little bit of an indentation there. So as I start using it, as the items end up fitting in here more and more, you'll start to see that this wrinkles it'll be quite noticeable over time. And when you look on the pre-loved market, a lot of them end up having quite a bit of wrinkling as well. So even though I do keep my handbag stuffed whenever I don't use it, that's just a normal wear of how this bag will end up aging. So I just thought I would mention that as well. And the last thing that some people might find a con, it's more like an honorable mention, is the fact that some people think that this design is a little bit dated, and the fact that it ends up looking like a robot. And I've said that before, it does have a face. There are the eyes, the ears, and then there's the mouth with a little bit of a tongue sticking out. So my final thoughts on this bag, a lot of people say that it's a fad, it'll end up going away, but it's been around for quite some time now, so I don't consider it necessarily a classic, more so a permanent part of their collection, their permanent handbag lineup. And especially because as the seasons come through, they end up adding so many different colors and so many different textures to it. So it's just one of those bags that I feel is here to stay. And I think that it really adds a nice variety to any collection. So would I recommend it? I would. If you are someone that wants to kind of venture out of the normal fashion houses that you end up going for, and you want to try out a different house, then I strongly suggest Celine, because they have such beautiful leather. But if you, I don't recommend it if you, you know, are very mindful of the resale value and spending the amount of money that it is for retail versus what it ends up selling for. Should you fall out of love with it, then I don't recommend it. And of course, it does have a little bit of slouching. And it's funny because as I'm sitting here talking about the pros and the cons, if you have been watching me for a while, you know that I prefer to go for handbags that keep their structure, handbags that don't have too many bells and whistles, and handbags that end up holding their value. And this is quite the opposite of everything that I normally have in my collection, and that's okay because I thoroughly enjoy using this handbag. I grin from ear to ear when I use it. I love the leather that it has, and I don't know, it's like I said, it's all a matter of how you feel when you use the handbag. So with other brands, with other fashion houses, I am still very mindful, yes, but all of that went out the window when it came to the Celine, which is kind of, it might be a little weird to say, especially because I've always talked about those things, but it's, like I said before, it's all a matter of how a bag ends up making you feel. And this is a perfect example of how crazy I feel that I am. But I really, really like it. And again, it will end up slouching a little bit over time with the wrinkling. So that's something that you want to keep in the back of your mind. But I think it's a great handbag, and if you don't want to go for the retail price of it, go on the pre-loved market because you can find some amazing deals, as I mentioned earlier. And I just highly, highly recommend this beautiful bag. There is one last thing that I wanted to say about this. I am a little bit more mindful as to the type of jeans that I'm wearing when I use this bag, because for the most part I end up carrying it on the crook of my arm. So because it is a little bit of a lighter color, I feel that it will be prone to color transfer regardless because of the color. So I am very mindful, as I said before, as to what I end up wearing when I'm carrying this bag. That's why I haven't had any issues with color transfer whatsoever. There we go. So that does it for my review on the Celine mini luggage. I will be including mod shots at the very end of this video. Hopefully that you guys find it helpful. And for reference, I am 5'5" and I am on the curvilicious side. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this video was able to help. And as always, make it a fabulous day or not. The choice is yours. Have a great day, you guys.